This fight is so important for the lightweight division just because of how good Islam Makhachev is, pound for pound best fighter in the world right now. And then we have Arman Tsarukyan, 1A, 1B in the UFC's lightweight division right now. Everyone else, I think if they're faced up against Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan, Islam and Arman are going to win each of those fights unless they're paired up with one another. Who's going to win that fight? I'm obviously going to talk about it. I'm going to talk about each fighter's strengths, their weaknesses, give my best bet if you guys like putting money on fights, and then ultimately my prediction for this fight. So we're going to start off with the champ. I feel like we have to. Not even going to talk about his grappling at first because I want to touch on his striking. I feel like because of how good of a grappler he is, his striking still somewhat gets slept on. I don't even have to describe it, or I'll just give you real life scenarios that have already happened. So Islam Makhachev against Charles Oliveira. Charles Oliveira is one of the best strikers in the UFC's lightweight division. And the first exchange, Charles hurt him with a straight left. Islam has a very slept on straight left. Even against Dustin Poirier, he hurt Dustin Poirier or caught his attention and woke him up in like the first real exchange they had in the first round of their fight. With Islam striking, he's obviously got great hands. He has great combos. He's very patient. He doesn't force anything. He doesn't rush anything because Khabib will just rip him apart while he's in his corner. I guess another thing I'll mention about his striking is that he has a pretty damn good Muay Thai clinch. He messed up Dustin Poirier a couple times in their fight. He has a great Muay Thai clinch because he's so strong too. Like you just see the, I'll put a picture of it right now, but his back and lats when he's submitting Drew Dober in their fight, you know, that's terrifying. That is, he's literally a turtle and he could probably fly. We'll touch on his grappling. I mean, I already said it, but I guess I can go more in depth with it right now. He is the best grappler in the world right now. He has exceptional throws. He has great timing on his double legs. He has great timing on his single legs. He is a great chain wrestler. If something's not working, he'll switch it up. You know, the only thing that I can say perfectly is just watch that Dustin Poirier fight back. It's the 5th round. They're both exhausted. He's struggling to get takedowns against Dustin Poirier because Poirier had significant improved wrestling in that fight because of Mateusz Gamrot. That just shows how good he is. And then another thing with his grappling, he has so many submission wins on his record. I'll pull it up right now. Pull it up, Jamie. So out of his 26 wins, he also has 1 loss. And out of the 26 wins, he has 5 knockouts and 12 submissions along with 9 decisions. And then the last thing I'll mention with Islam Makhachev is that he is the most complete fighter that you can just be as a mixed martial artist. And on top of that, you know, he is an exceptional grappler. He's an underrated striker. And with all that, none of that works. And he's not the pound for pound best fighter in the world. He's not the UFC lightweight champion in the world if he doesn't have good cardio, and he has exceptional cardio. That is just something that is non-negotiable in those Dagestan camps in the mountains of Dagestan run by Khabib now, especially. And then with Islam Makhachev, when we're talking about his weaknesses, honestly, no known weaknesses for Islam Makhachev. The only weakness that I can say, or at least come up with, is that he's been cracked before. He's been knocked out before. That's happened once before in his entire UFC career. And to be honest, if anything, that could be a strength because he has come back and hasn't lost and has just gotten better each fight. But I want to talk about Arman Tsarukyan. So Arman Tsarukyan, the 1B fighter in the UFC's lightweight division. I had the pleasure of actually seeing Arman fight live in person. I went with my best friend, my sister, and my brother-in-law. We all drove from Toronto to Austin, Texas, actually, for my birthday last year, which was really cool. Honestly, such an amazing experience. So Arman Tsarukyan, he has a record of 22 wins and 3 losses. He has 9 KOs, 5 submissions, and 9 decisions. So a pretty similar record to Khabib when it comes to the diversity of how he wins his fights. He's 28 years old. He's 5'7", and he has a 72.5-inch reach. And going into this fight, he's a plus 270 underdog. So a lot of value in Arman Tsarukyan. Arman Tsarukyan, a great striker. He has a solid jab, honestly. The thing that stands out to me, the first thing that came to mind is he has such a strong jab that he sits on, and it's quick, and he gets out of range after he throws it. Like another thing with Arman striking is that he throws great combos. He mixes it up pretty well, body, head, kicks. He'll finish a lot of combos with a kick depending on their opponent. His striking is such a threat as well because of his creativity. Like he throws axe kicks. He throws axe kicks. He threw it against Charles Oliveira. This guy's like crazy flexible. He stretches for like 5 hours a day. And my favorite thing with his striking is that he just times it very well and it complements his grappling so well. It's the same thing with both these fighters. They're both the same style of fighter. That's why it's like just such a clash. And then I think the only thing I really have to say about Arman Tsarukyan's grappling is, I'll just ask you a question. Have you watched their first fight between Islam Makhachev and Arman Tsarukyan? Have you watched that fight? If you haven't, shame on you. Watch it right now because it is one of the best displays of mixed martial arts talent and skill that you will see because of just the grappling alone in that fight. The scrambles, the grappling scrambles in that fight were freaking insane. And it was just beautiful to watch. If you appreciate grappling, you will love that fight. And the fact that he was able to really challenge Islam Makhachev and compete with Islam Makhachev very well in each department of a mixed martial arts fight just shows how good of a grappler he is. If you can stuff Islam's takedowns, he even took Islam down in that fight according to the record books, but Islam got out like right away. But to even do that to Islam Makhachev is just an insane thing to do. Even outside of that fight, he's an exceptional grappler. He times it perfectly. He has great explosiveness and speed with his shots. And he does a great job of getting guys into exchanges and then timing mid-exchange when they're throwing back to take them down, to open them up and catch them off guard. He has just great fight IQ. Both these guys do. And he's just an exceptional fighter. And I'm just so fired up to see this fight. I think the last thing I want to say about Arman Tsarukyan specifically with just who he is, this guy survived one of the tightest guillotines other than the Brian Ortega, Alex Volkanovski guillotine. Arman Tsarukyan's survival against Charles Oliveira, the guy with the most submissions in UFC history, to survive that and not tap is insane and just shows how tough he is and just shows that championship mentality. Now that I talked about each fighter, their strengths, their weakness, I want to go into the prediction right now and then as well as the best bets that I would throw a couple bucks on because I'm cheap as the way I see this fight playing out, I think it's going to be razor close. I think that Islam Makhachev's path to victory is just to, make it a real ugly fight, make it a mixed martial arts fight, mix it up in every scenario. So I expect him to press Arman against the cage a lot, utilize, the clinch, softening up his strikes, the Muay Thai clinch against the cage, mixing in some knees to the head, the body, just being Islam Makhachev in general. And then he will, of course, go for takedowns, whether that's a trip, a throw from the clinch, or just a perfectly timed single leg or double leg out of a striking exchange. I think he's going to wear him out on the mat as well. Look for submissions because Islam, he has said in the press conference that he wants to finish Arman Tsarukyan. I believe he wants to submit him specifically. He'll constantly go for submissions and Arman will be forced to defend. And he'll do that until Arman either gives up his neck and he chokes him out or it goes to a decision victory. And then Arman Tsarukyan, I think his way to win this fight, honestly, is probably going to be on the feet. Because again, I think if you're going to beat Islam Makhachev, I feel like you're going to have to knock him out. So he will shoot on Islam just to mix it up, keep him guessing, show him that you're not scared of him getting taken down, and just show him that you have to give him another thing to be worried about in that fight because obviously that's going to open up other things like the striking department. So keep him at distance, trying to pick him apart, throw those longer combinations, and try to knock Islam out. That's going to be the game plan if I'm Arman Tsarukyan. For my final prediction and for my best bet, I say this fight is going to go to a decision. So I'm going to take Islam Makhachev via decision. I think he's too good. He has too much experience. If you don't want to do by decision, I would go submission because money line, he's obviously a big favorite. Unless you're doing a parlay, I would suggest staying away from that. But then also, if you want to take Arman Tsarukyan money line, I would also do that as well. If you want to go more specific and do Arman Tsarukyan by knockout, I think that's the way he has to win this fight. I said it a couple times before. But finally, I think Islam Makhachev specifically is going to win by unanimous decision, 48-47, 49-46, and 49-46, and still lightweight champion of the world. And hopefully he will beat the winner between Bilal and Shavkat at the UFC's welterweight championship next.